Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to unpack something pretty specific. Military personal protective equipment, PPE.
That's right. We're looking at a forecast report, trying to get behind the numbers on the global market for this stuff.
Yeah, what's driving it? What does it actually mean? Because the figures, well, they're quite something.
They really are.
The report puts the market at what, around 15.4 billion US dollars in 2025?
Roughly that, yeah.
And it's projected to basically double by 2033, over 31 billion.
Yeah, just shy of 31.2 billion, actually. That's a huge leap.
It works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 9.2%.
And a 9.2% CAGR, I mean, sustained over almost a decade.
Mhm.
That's really significant growth. It signals a major acceleration.
So what's pushing this? The report mentions a couple of key things.
It does. Primarily, rising geopolitical tensions. We see that mentioned quite clearly.
Yeah.
And linked to that, of course, increased defense spending by governments around the world.
Right. So it's not just like normal market expansion. It's really being fueled by the global security climate.
Exactly. The state of the world is directly impacting this market.
Okay, so our plan today is to break that down. We'll look at what specific gear is growing fastest, maybe some of the challenges involved.
Yeah, and also where this growth is happening. The regional differences are quite interesting according to this report.
Okay. Let's maybe circle back to that overall picture first. Doubling in value, less than 10 years.
It is striking, isn't it? It tells you governments are putting a much bigger and growing emphasis on protecting their personnel. Soldier survivability is clearly a major focus.
And within that broad category of PPE, helmets, gloves, boots, everything, is there one bit that's really leading the pack?
Well, the report specifically flags body armor as the fastest growing
Oh,
segment.
body armor. Okay.
And if you think about those drivers, the tensions, the potential for conflict, it makes perfect sense, right? You want to ensure that core protection for soldiers in potentially hostile situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Does the report say much about how it's improving? Is it just more vests, or is it the tech changing?
It talks about continuous technological advancements generally. So for body armor, you'd expect things like new material science making it lighter but stronger.
Right. Lighter is always key.
Definitely. Or maybe integrating other functions. We hear about smart fabrics, maybe integrating comms or, health monitoring systems into the armor itself. It's becoming less just a passive vest and more an active system.
Interesting. So more sophisticated gear, but better tech usually means more expensive tech and maybe more complex. Does the report mention any hurdles or challenges?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Two big ones are highlighted. First, the high procurement costs. This advanced PPE isn't cheap.
Yeah, I bet.
And second, the really stringent regulatory standards. Military gear has to meet incredibly tough requirements for performance and reliability.
So getting the latest tech approved and then actually bought in large numbers, that takes time and serious money.
Exactly. It can slow things down. Getting through those regulatory hoops and managing the budget are major factors for manufacturers and military buyers alike.
Okay. High costs, tough standards.
Got it. Let's shift focus a bit. Where is all this happening? Geographically.
Right, the regional breakdown. North America, according to this report, currently holds the biggest slice of the pie, the largest market share.
Makes sense. Big defense budgets.
Yep. And they show solid, steady growth. Projected CAGR is about 7.0% through 2033. Mature market, consistent investment.
Okay. And Europe, also a major player.
For sure. Europe's also a huge market.
Mm.
Interestingly, projected to grow slightly faster than North America, 7.5% CAGR.
Yeah.
Again, showing that focus on readiness across key nations there.
So North America and Europe, steady, strong growth. But that overall 9.2% global average suggests somewhere else must be growing even faster.
That's where the Asia-Pacific region, APAC, comes in. The report sees APAC becoming the third largest market overall.
Okay.
But, and this is the key bit, it's projected to have the highest growth rate globally, an impressive 11.2% CAGR.
Wow, 11.2%. That's quite a bit higher than the others. What's behind that surge in APAC? Well, it connects right back to those main drivers again, the geopolitical tensions in that region, and consequently, significant increases in defense budgets.
Modernization efforts.
Exactly. Countries are investing heavily in upgrading their forces, equipping them with modern gear. The report mentions China as a major factor, of course.
Right.
But it specifically calls out India as having the highest individual country CAGR in the report.
Yeah.
A really striking 13.1%.
13.1% for India. That's massive. That suggests a really rapid buildup or modernization push.
It certainly points to a very accelerated rate of procurement, yeah, likely tied to their specific regional security concerns and strategic priorities.
Okay, so APAC is the real hotspot for growth, particularly India. What about other regions, briefly?
Let's see. South America is projected at 8.2% CAGR.
Hmm?
Pretty solid, with Brazil noted as a key driver there.
Okay.
The Middle East, slightly higher at 8.5% CAGR, reflecting ongoing security dynamics with Saudi Arabia mentioned.
In Africa.
Africa is showing strong growth too, actually, 8.9% CAGR. It's starting from a smaller base, perhaps, but growing fast, with South Africa highlighted as a contributor.
So really, it's a global picture of growth, but with APAC and especially countries like India within it, really pushing that average up significantly.
That's a good summary, yes.
Yeah.
The trend is worldwide, but the rate of change is definitely most pronounced in Asia-Pacific, according to this forecast.
Okay, let's try and pull the key threads together here then.
Sure.
We started with this report projecting really substantial growth for military PPE globally, going from about 15.4 billion in 2025
to over 31 billion by 2033, basically doubling.
Yeah.
Driven by that strong 9.2% CAGR.
Right. And the why behind it, the report links directly to rising global tensions and the knock-on effect of increased defense budgets.
Exactly. And within that growing market, body armor stands out as the segment expanding the fastest, helped along by ongoing tech improvements.
But it's not all smooth sailing. We touch on the challenges. The stuff is expensive to buy.
High procurement costs, yeah. And it has to meet incredibly demanding military standards and regulations.
And regionally, while North America is the biggest market today and Europe is growing steadily.
It's really the Asia-Pacific region that's showing the most dramatic acceleration, that 11.2% growth, with India's rate being particularly noteworthy from this data.
So when you look at all this, what does it tell you, the listener? I mean, understanding this market, it reflects pretty fundamental shifts, doesn't it? Changes in global priorities, how nations view security.
Absolutely. And the constant drive for technological advancement and how militaries protect their people in, well, increasingly complex and dangerous environments.
So here's something to think about based purely on what this report suggests. We see the strong growth explicitly tied to geopolitical tensions and rising budgets, and we see continuous advances in protective technology being a key factor within that growth. So the question for you is, how might these ongoing improvements in PPE technology further shape military thinking, military strategies, and perhaps even the broader global security landscape in the years ahead?